We don't have to stay muted, right? Come on. We're all sitting here muted. It just dawned on me I wanted to say hi.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey there. Hey, can you see me? Can you see me? Yeah? Can you see me? No?
If you're in one of those jars.
Gabriel goes ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't. What is that? Gabriel goes ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't. Gabriel goes ahead whenever he's.
Can you see me now? Yeah?
I can't.
Oh, can you see me? Oh, one. Oh. Can you see me now? Yeah. Yeah, good. Oh, good. There we go. All right. Oh, let me. Oops. Sorry.
And I would open the trunk and climb in and then pull it shut behind me and crawl around.
Gabriel goes ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't.
Sorry. One. Yep. Things
Gabriel
sorted out
goes ahead
before we get
whenever
started here.
he's shadowed.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Oh, one second. We got, let's see.
Gabriel goes ahead whenever he's shadowed.
Sorry, one.
Oh my God, what is that? Gabriel grows ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't. Oh my God, what is that? Gabriel grows ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't.
The kids left us.
Gabriel grows ahead whenever he's shadowed. I can't. Oh my God, what is that?
Now looking at the weather
Gabriel
patterns
goes ahead
affecting
whenever.
the southern looking to the region today through the end of the week as rain chambers are early this morning. Temperatures moderate closer to normal for this weekend before another push of cold air arrives early next week. Precipitation returns Sunday into Monday.
Change it and make it wherever you want.
To the tablet.
The Savannah or African nation. So a place of contrast.
All right, now I think it's my turn to drive. Okay.
And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak.
Can you see me now? Yeah. Oh, no. There you go. Oh, yeah. Now you go. I don't know if the audio. Oh, this stupid mouse. Can you hear me? Let's give me a thumbs up if you can hear. You got it? Yep. All right, good. All right, awesome. Okay. Oh, we got notification. Oh, reload? I don't want to reload. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're going to get this going. More. Can you hear me now? See me? Yep. here we go. All right. Oh, thank you for all coming to join today. Hope.
Listen, I don't know whether to.
It has been 3 years.
All right, what's up?
Oh. Yeah, sorry. One of the. Okay. Yeah. Good call. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see here.
Enter your password followed by the pound sign. You can set. You have
204
new messages. Message.
Oh, goodness. All right, got that off. Just shut that off completely. There we go. All right. Welcome. We're gonna talk about some objects. Hopefully that we can do some sharing today of these and have a moment to connect here via the interwebs for this Friendsgiving event. I was going to talk a little bit about my practice, my making practice, and also hopefully have an opportunity for each of you to share. If you're not right now, if you would, in your settings, go ahead and switch to gallery view, so that you can see all the screens at the same time, so we can see each other on there, and then we'll be able to get started. Let me look at my notes here to check. To change. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. This is yeah. I got this thing streaming in all over the place. This is not working. Let's try something else. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Perfect. Yeah. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you're in a space that has less sound. Perfect. So what we can do, and I'll start, is I'm going to share my object. I'm going to name it. So I have a little baggie of clay that I dug in my backyard. And it's a Ziploc bag with a little pink string tying the neck of it closed. And I gave it as a gift to a group I worked with this summer. Some kids who were learning clay for the first time. And I processed some of my clay and bagged it up and shared it with them so that for them to take home and make something and bring it back. It's soft in the bag. It's still pliable. I can still form it. It's dark green. And if I open the bag, like I know it, but even without opening the bag, there's this rich earthy smell that will come out as soon as that bag's opened up. When I open some commercial clay, it's like it smells a little bit like nothing or like a little bit of mold. But this clay smells like my yard. It smells like the outdoors. And holding it and thinking about this object, why I chose it, it makes me feel like the connection that I have to this material and the connection that I saw those kids have to the material right away, that there's huge potential in that. And it's really exciting that was one of the first projects I was able to have enough clay to be able to share it with others. And so if you're able, if you'd like to, anyone can start. If you just hold your object and name it for us, tell us what you brought to share, and tell us a little bit about how it feels physically, how it looks, and then maybe share how it makes you feel. Why is it cherished for you?
I have in my hand a message and an invitation. It's very small. I can fit it between my fingertips and my thumb, the pads of my fingertips and my thumb. It's smooth on the front and it's smooth on the back. Its edges are fine and rigid. It's white, stark white. And it's an informal, molded, pressed piece of clay that was fired. On one side is written in permanent marker R, A-R-E. On the other side is written U, Y-O-U. I cherish it because it was manufactured as an invitation and then given to others as an invitation for flash gift. And it was for a performance piece that I had done in the past. And now I use it and I cherish them. I have a handful of them that is spilled out on my desk. And anytime I go somewhere where I want to give a gift or give some thanks or even a message, I bring one with me. And then I give it to either a person or I dig a hole in the ground and bury it in a special place as a message for the future. I cherish it also because it was part of an explanation about a piece of clay in a different context, but I like to carry it with me. That these little pieces of clay will be present hundreds, thousands of years from now, even why won't. So when someone passes their gift along to someone else, or look at the invitation as a gift, or dig it up and find it in the ground and use this little message of either a statement, you are, or a question, are you, there is a little bit of a connection to me in this time, and then also their own selves and their questioning of who they are in the future. And that's my answer. Thank you.
Cool to the touch. It has 2 concentric circles. The inside one is a solid piece. It's a little bit bigger and has a lip. And the inside circle can twist and move. And when you run your finger around the inside circle, you can feel engravings of text that circle the ring. It's cold to the touch. It's the color silver. The more that you move the rings, the warmer the metal gets, and it absorbs your body heat. The ring is special to me. It's the first gift that my partner ever gave me, and he got it from a meditation temple in Korea from one of the monks. And when he received the ring, the monk told them that he had to do 32 mantras and meditation in order to set the intention of the ring before giving it as a gift. So every time I have the ring, I have it in my hands and I'm playing with it, it reminds me of connection and relationships that are important and how we have to engage constantly with a relationship to keep it moving and healthy.
Well, my object are 2 small square blocks. They're maybe 1.5 inches square, and I made them. They're made of wood that has a hole drilled through it. 2 pieces of wood with a hole drilled through it, and sandwiched between those 2 pieces of wood is a piece of colored glass. And then the whole thing is covered in a mixture of gesso and sawdust, and then pressed into that gesso sawdust while it's wet are wine leads, the pieces that come off the top of the wine bottles, ink side down, and then that was dried, and then the leads, the were pulled off of the gesso, and just the printed, wine label ink was left on the gesso sawdust surface, which is dried very hard. And these I made when I was 25, so many, many, many years ago. And they have stayed with me, but not like in view. They've always been in a box somewhere, but I come across them every, 5 years or so when I'm packing to move or looking for something. And they always keep showing up, and I always keep them, but not out where I can always see them. So, so I don't know why we keep some things and not others. And it's a question that I think about a lot right now as I'm cleaning out my mother's house. And yeah, that's it. Here they are, here and now.
Well, my object fits in my hand. It's makes this nice noise against my wedding ring that I wear on my left hand. It's some sort of clay, and it's a little tea mug, and I grabbed it off the top of my kitchen cabinetry, and it was covered in dust. I don't think I've picked it up since I put it there. From my mom's house, because I lost my mom during COVID, and yeah, I had to clean out my mom's place, which was also my stepdad's place because he died a couple years ago also. So when my stepdad died, my mom was okay, but not really physically great, and so she never really cleaned out his stuff, and so we had to clean out two people's stuff, 40 years of their life, and simultaneously, I had to be cleaning out my own studio so that we could expand our basement for my growing children. So I didn't really have a lot of space for this stuff, but I kept this mug along with this little teapot. And the weird thing is that I gave this to my mom as a gift probably, 25 years ago. So it's strange to have it back in my hand that long, that many years later. And I don't know why I selected this piece, other than I started out thinking about dear Geno and his love of pottery. So I think it caught my eye, and then all of a sudden there's a lot more meaning for me sitting here under this blanket. So thanks.
I'm holding this 1.5-inch square envelope type thing that the flaps kind of all fold in on each other. And when you open it, it's holding the wedding bands of my grandparents. My grandmother's has 3 little diamonds in it. It's not extraordinarily fancy. My grandfather's has some tape around an area where it got so worn that it broke through. And I chose these not necessarily for sentiment as much as they were very significant people in our family, and their connection. I reflect back on that and think of the way that I wouldn't be here without that connection. And a lot of the things that I have seen in them, I am now seeing in myself and others in the family. But the bands in particular, I think about the way that heat conducts through metal, and sometimes just hold on to them and think that maybe that vibration between the two of them, if I hold it long enough and it gets warm enough, that it will kind of be present there. And I keep them inside, and a bowl and pitcher that my grandmother used to collect. And just the connection between me and my grandmother specifically, like the two of them got together, they connected, and then my mom came from that union. And, you know, biologically, the eggs that are in my mother were formed in the womb of my grandmother. And so just thinking about connection and the connection between the two of them and the connection between me and the connection between the bands. And yeah, that's my little piece in my hand.
Tiny rabbit is tiny. So tiny that tiny rabbit fits on the tip of my forefinger. Not just in my hand, but on my finger. Tiny rabbit is made of plastic, and it's white. Tiny rabbit is part of a pair. I have one, and someone who I love very much has the other one, and that person loves me. We are very physically separated in different parts of the world. But we each have a tiny rabbit.
Having a hard time finding darkness at the moment, but in my hand, there's a pale blue paper crane. I keep it on my desk. It's number 713 of what never became 1000. Sometimes I unfold it and then fold it up again. I don't know if that's some kind of ritual or meditation, but it's something I do often. I had promised 1000 and I didn't make that promise. So I now keep 713 in front of me every day.
My camera is not cooperating with this exercise, so it is off. What I'm holding is a small piece of rose quartz. It's pink and vaguely heart-shaped, and it was given to me by a friend nearly 30 years ago on the occasion of the first time I truly fell in love and then lost that love. And it was meant as a gift of healing in that moment. And it's just stayed with me and followed me everywhere. I keep it in a dish that is in my office and has some other stones in it. But this one, I always remember exactly where it came from and why. And I think about many times that you fall in love and many times that you lose that love. But there is only one time that it happens for the first time. And so it makes me think about that deep feeling and that deep vulnerability that I want to continue to experience in all of my relationships the way I did with such trust that very first time.
thank you all for sharing your objects. And in the most authentic way possible to use and borrow this symbolism. Thank you. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can see you.
Thank you all. We can come out of the warm tents and get a natural light setting, because there are a lot of faces here that I haven't seen in a long time. And new faces as well.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. Oh my God. Thank you all for coming this morning and participating. I really deeply appreciate it, especially at this moment in our lives as we all kind of renegotiate and figure out new ways to keep moving forward, but also to build kind of stronger and more resilient foundations. So we have, I think we have this window open until noon or so, and I don't expect that there's any sort of necessary traditional Q&A, but any sort of conversation. If folks have to go, I understand. But if you'd like to stick around to chat as a group, I'd welcome that. And I'll hang out here until about noon for anyone who wants to keep chatting. So. There's a lot, yeah. Naomi and Kevin, I haven't seen both of you for an extremely long time. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's like life happens or something. What?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think it's that double-edged sword of like, I don't feel like Instagram has allowed me to keep up with some of everyone's busy lives, what's happening in passing, but yeah.
Can we see people's objects in the light of day?
Yeah.
Or is that like counterproductive or intuitive to the work?
Oh, I like it. Okay, so here's the.
Oh, wow.
Here, I'll do a demonstration of mine, but I got to be very careful because it's very delicate. It's like papery type stuff, and then it opens up, and then the rings are inside.
Oh wow!
So
Love the detail that there's tape on one of them because it's been worn down so
yeah,
much.
yep, right there. It's even misshapen. Yeah, that was. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to talk about. So I don't talk about it like at all. So it was nice to be able to do that, but it was definitely a stumble through the moment kind of thing. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That was really special. And everyone too. There's some really nice personal moments there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Especially since I don't even know any of you.
Yeah.
I've been teaching these college students in various media, but one of the ones that this made me think about is my videography 2 students, and their current project is a video portrait, and I think they sometimes are struggling because they see this big giant picture of what they think they want to do, and they don't know any of the little bits in between. Yeah. And I keep talking over and over about things we've learned at VCFA. I mean, research, read, watch something, have a conversation with a family member, record yourself on your voice memo, record a conversation you have with a parent, and just get these things together. And I promise you, because they're yours, there'll be connections. Yeah. And then you can kind of sort out what the hell it is that you're going to make. But don't figure out what you need to make first, and then go get the pieces. Get the pieces first. And what was fascinating to me was in that moment of, well, should I go next? I don't know. And then each time somebody went, the connections between all of our objects we could make an entire piece out of each of our objects, and why we chose them. And when Kate said she was cleaning out her mother's house, it just was like, oh God, like I'm there with you. Like now I'll go. And it's such an organic, beautiful sort of Buddhist kind of minded, I don't know, thing that all these little pieces can kind of fit together. I don't know, it's kind of like my major takeaway. And Geno, you're awesome.
No, thanks, Kat. I'm glad you came. Thanks for coming. And also, despite I would love to be there to give you a hug in person, but yeah, I'm finding in my daily life that that there's not a lot of space in my life to acknowledge like the collective trauma and challenges that we've all faced. Especially when there's distance, like you see somebody again in first time in 2 or 3 years, and they're like, how are you? And you're like, I have 2 years of shit that is like there in front of me, but I'm going to say, I'm great. I'm good, because you can't. Otherwise, we're going to go down that like 2 years worth. And also at this moment, those things that they're not like the normal random things across time. It's like big changes, big challenges that we're all carrying with us now. And I have to admit, it makes me feel a little bit crazy a lot of the time in public settings, because I imagine that everyone maybe is carrying that around, but also I think that the varying levels of privilege and experience really have changed some of these relationships pretty deeply. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago in any way. And then I meet someone again and who I knew then. And I almost have to feel the need to reintroduce myself. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Naomi, sorry to pick. what we haven't connected in a while, and I'm really curious, like, yeah, what's going on? How are you?
What is it, like 2 years of shit I have to condense? I'm great.
No. maybe the now, like that's what I started doing, is like right now, like
present moment.
Yeah. No, well, I was super bummed that you didn't actually get to come to South Dakota. Nobody comes to South Dakota, and here's Geno with an exhibition, and then it goes virtual, and I was like, dang it. But I am doing much better. I've got to sort of reconnect with my own art practice, and I finally was just like, well, fuck it. I'm going to schedule out days where I'm going to be in the studio, and I don't care if it makes people feel like I'm not around. So it's been really nice to be selfish, to be honest, and make stuff. And yeah, So it's really good. And I was just actually thinking about you, Kevin, yesterday, because I started a sound project making music with another martial artist that I know. And he was like, well, just do a sound sketch. And I'm like, okay. So I started messing with stuff and I was like, what would Kevin do? He would just throw any sound in there and play with it. Okay. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. But I've been good and at making, so it's a good feeling.
What about your kitchen gallery? Is that still going on? What's going on with that?
We wrapped up the first year and then I kind of paused it because although it was a lot of fun, it was a lot of work. And I found that I was being a curator more than I was being an artist myself. And I learned a lot, but it just, I was missing getting to make stuff. So it's just on pause. Maybe I'll just pass it off to someone else and be like, here's everything. You do it for a year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just have guest curators or something. But yeah, it was good. How are you doing, Guy? I haven't seen you since last time we hung out with Geno.
Right. That was about a year ago too, wasn't it? Yeah. How do I condense it? So right now I'm doing okay. So no, finishing up the semester, and I'm sort of along the lines of what Kevin, you were talking about, getting students to, I teach an intro to art class. So it's a humanities class and everybody takes it. It's an elective and stuff. And a lot of people don't like to teach that. I love teaching it because I get to demystify, I like to call it, art and what it really is and break it down into some authentic truth about the artist and art. And so one of the projects that I have them do, and some of them freak out because they're like, we can't draw. And it's not about drawing. It's about making, but it's a self-portrait. And so we're getting to the end of that. And it's challenging, like you mentioned, Kevin, to get them out of the mindset of like final product. It's got to be this thing. And how do I do this? And then they get stuck on it, the drawing or painting. I'm like, why are you doing that? If you don't know how to do that, there are other ways, 4D, 3D, 2D, performance, recording, right? Whatever. So we're getting ready for that. Those presentations are coming up next week. And it usually becomes a very kind of sharing some stuff that people don't realize about each other. So like the personal hits the universal. So I've been swept up in that mode with the students, trying to help them get to that place. I don't know, is that enough to hear from me? Because I feel like if I go any further, I'll get like too deep and emotional and dig into those things that are really changing and stuff. And I'm not sure I'm ready. So
that's good.
Yeah, thanks. So,
is this the first iteration of this performance, this online performance?
Yes. I did a piece in a gallery. I don't know when that was. Time I don't even know. Like maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, maybe 3 months. Who knows? I was doing that, and it just happened that in conversation with Tatiana, like I had taken the gallery to deal with this moment. So it was a research project trying to, again, find these materials. Where do they come from? Which is like the clay minerals, which is something that started at VCFA, that like exploration, which is ongoing. And I wanted to get a lot of voices involved, but physical space is still like really awkward and weird in Dayton. So I took over a gallery and then like reached out from the gallery and invited people to come join the conversation and point their individual knowledge towards that moment. So like had religious studies kind of faculty members come in, philosophy professor came in, talked about my title. I called it the Ephemeral Institute of Ethical Clay was the title. And so it was like mostly an online experience. And then I was in the gallery, which was like my set or stage. And so in that iteration of like playing with like how could that show translate online, then in conversation with Tatiana, I was like, could you develop something for this Friendsgiving event? And so since like I did it for a residency maybe 2 semesters ago, since that event, I've really been like playing with the form, but also like just struggling with this. At this point, there's like this visceral body reaction that happens when I get on Zoom. Like it immediately down my back and neck, I'm tense, and it's not really a welcome experience at all after spending a couple semesters teaching ceramics on Zoom. But yeah, well, I guess that was a really long answer for a short question. Yes, this is the first iteration, and it was also one where, like you said, I felt like I knew, like in terms of format and design of it, like pieces and parts, but in terms of how they all lay together, but also in terms of being responsive to who shows up, there were like some moments on the fly where I was able to like change structure, edit and whatnot for a group this size versus a group, say if there had been 50 people and most of them maybe questioning like what level of interaction we could accomplish via Zoom. So yeah, so I saw your name show up in the waiting room, like boom, let's do this. So
Yeah, I thought I was thinking about that, Geno, is with the second, I was thinking about this piece as 2 parts, right? The beginning and then when we're under the coats. And I was thinking about, oh, what if he had 25, 30 people here? How would he do it differently, right? Mm-hmm. But which I'd love to hear your answer, but I also, just wanted to say how I thought that was really effective, like the way that you said it, what you did in the beginning, and that kind of, kind of the chaos of the sound, and also you're just constantly moving around, and we're waiting, so we become really aware of the fact that we're in that position of waiting. Again, we're paying attention because something's going to happen, but we're also like, I know this feeling, like you talk about that feeling of being tense in front of the camera or in a Zoom meeting, and then to change it up like that to get really close and personal and warm, like the air, the space, the environment changes when you do that, and then talking about something that's personal to you or that's that participatory part of it. I thought it worked really great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm not in reflection mode at all yet. I'm still a little bit like I just got hit by a truck, like which happens anytime I do anything publicly. But of
course, but what about that? What about if you must have thought, well, what will I do if there's 50 people or,
Yeah.
Is there ever 50 people in a Zoom meeting? Like that? I guess.
Yeah. We were at ready to be able to kind of force videos off in terms of the like lighting situation underneath, like because it worked with us, like, well, there's also that, like the ability to make a dark space is a challenge, like in a lot of situations. So it was expected there would be some proportion, but if there was a certain volume of people whose screens were bright, then it would light all of our faces, and so that was one of the structures that changed slightly. Also, with the large group of anonymous, like I had a way to anonymize where everyone would have renamed themselves the same title, so that folks who aren't we have been trained or conditioned by the program to be able to do this to a degree, most of us. And I don't want to leave Jerome out, but as a fellow artist, I also saw his name pop up, and I'm like, oh, Jerome's on board here. He'll do this. He's a theater faculty member at UD, who I've collaborated with in the past, and so if that wasn't the case, I thought that the sharing would have been different for some folks if they felt like their name was part of the conversation. And so thanks, Tatiana. And so there was this step of anonymizing everyone by renaming ourselves that I edited out as well, based on the size of the group.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so surprised how not dark this black fabric was.
Dude,
what the heck? I was like, this would be perfect. It's so dark.
It's like paper thin though.
I use it for backdrops, like for videography and things like that. I've never actually been underneath it when the sun is glaring through my sliding door. I'm like, I guess it's not that dark. Oh well. I even put a blanket up in my slider, and it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. Sorry, man.
No, it was great. It was also like the varying levels of visuals like that are present, that there is some activity, like, and it's not just like, otherwise we could just shut our videos off, and that's a different experience, I think. So yeah, but I think I am really happy. Thank you all for joining. And it's really great to see all of you and connect in this way. And thank you to Sarah and Jericho for the invitation and for this event as well, in support of such a special program.
Whose was, I'm sorry to interrupt your final thoughts.
No, go guy. Yeah.
Who did the seven? I don't remember where the square was, but the 700 of 1,000 was that Jericho? That was
me.
So good. I love that. Yeah, no, that was powerful.
I was also in a place of like being very, like Kevin, so surprised that I couldn't make it dark. Like I couldn't for the life of me get it dark. And that was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Thank you, Geno, so much for this.
Yeah.
And thank you all for, this was amazing.
It was great.
Nice to share it with everybody and connect with you all.
Yeah. Although I do have to say, Geno, it was really kind of cool, the whole like concept of connection in the beginning. I was like, this is like nails on a chalkboard for me. Can you just turn off all your sound? Can you stop moving? Oh my gosh, this is everything anybody does in a Zoom meeting that drives me nuts. I don't like this connection. But then when you simplified and you're like, we're actually going to take stuff away, it was so much easier to actually and authentically connect, which is sort of a lovely reminder that sometimes less really is more.
Yeah, I will have to say that in terms of self-reflection, being on, I've not ever been on this side of the thing, and teaching a intro to art class on Zoom last semester, 100% on Zoom, like that was definitely me a couple times. Like I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm on the fly. I'll set up my phone and show you how to do this, on the fly. And I'm like, I probably looked exactly like you. And, thanks for the probably more accurate self-reflection. Cause I thought I did a pretty good job, but I have a feeling it was really messy. So it was nice to get a little reality check, man.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Thank you, Guy, Naomi, Jerome. Thanks for coming. Sarah and Jericho as well. And Jason, thanks for your tech support as well. So
yeah, Jason.
Hope you all have an awesome afternoon.
Great.
Geno,
I have 4 more Zoom meetings today. So
wait 1 second, Geno.
Yeah.
I'm coming to outside of Dayton, 20 minutes down the road.
When?
December 19th. Let's hang out.
Yes. Okay. December 19th. Just for the day?
I'm only there for to the 21st, I think, like 3 or 4 days, but let's fit in like an hour at night sometime when the families are all at rest.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Awesome, dude.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
We'll see you, everybody.
Thanks,
See ya.
Thanks for being
Bye.